This video is heavily inspired by Matt Mart's Geometry Dash creator review of Carmel. The link to that video and his channel will be in the description. Hello everybody, I'm Cyber, and today we will be doing a builder review of one of JToH's oldest and most famous creators, Szolski. Before we review his work, let's clarify what we will be rating. Each tower Seal made will be judged based on 5 different categories, including gameplay, design, creativity, enjoyment, and music. At the end of the video, we will find the average of all his towers, and that will be Seal's final score. Now let's get straight into it. Our first tower is the Tower of Killjoys, which is a hard tower that currently sits in Ring 1. It is a collab by Seal and Jukeries. Right off the bat, we can see the frame is ripped from the Tower of Inception. The tower starts with some fairly simple gameplay, with not too much detail. Soon after 2 simple spinners, there's a strange gimmick with a pushing platform and a button that can be confusing to beginners. I know I sure was when I first saw it. On floor 2, the tower throws another obstacle that the player most likely has never seen before, the spinning cannon. This absolutely blew my mind when I first saw it, and I was eager to find out what other mechanics lie within this tower. So far, the gameplay hasn't been too special, and that's unfortunately the same with the design for the rest of the tower. After the cannon, you reach a split path that includes nothing special, a random thing instead, and you smash through the frame to an outside section with the help of a pushing platform. And then you reach the tower crossing. It isn't too special in this tower as it only goes to not even a tower, and the only buff is a time button, but it's still a tower crossing, and it normally blows the average beginner player's mind when they come across it. The tower starts to do a minor dip in gameplay up until the key maze, where the player has to find 20 keys in order to continue. There is a difficulty spike in the third outside section, but it isn't too major, so I'll let it slide. A couple floors later, and you reach the roof. This is also heavily inspired by ToL, but is also modified a little bit. The rest of the tower is a lot easier than the first half, and it is very hard to die here. I do really like the music in the second half, especially the music used in floors 6 to 7. But what I don't like is the random push box section. Seriously, this is the most boring part of the tower. Anyways, here are the ratings. The next one is the first of many soul-crushing towers by Seal. This is Thanos Tower by Seal and Juke. Seal only made 7 to 10, so it will be mostly judging his floors. Right off the bat, we can see the style change as soon as we get to Seal's floors, which takes away just some design points for it being too inconsistent. There are 2 tower crossings on floor 7, and unlike ToGaH, they are actually quite well made. The gameplay is really fun in the Seal floors, although it is not the best. The music is also amazing in this tower, and each song fits perfectly, except maybe floor 5. It is not the most creative gameplay, as it's mostly a bunch of purism. Oh, and updated floor 10 reminds me of the ball in Cataclysm. Just thought I'd mention that. Now this one surprised me a bit, but Seal actually worked on Tower of Deep Darkness along with Juke and Koi. Seal started helping on the infamous forest floor. It is not very enjoyable if I'm being honest, and I really find the gameplay insanely inconsistent. However, the music and design are pretty good, and this is one of the most creative towers I've ever seen. Man, I really hate that TOFAF maze. Citadel of Wacky Strategy. I love the gameplay of this tower. It is honestly amazing and very fun in my opinion. However, it isn't the most consistent, especially on the final floors. It isn't too creative, but it has some unique moments. The music is especially amazing and fits perfect literally everywhere. It 100% deserves a 10 out of 10 in that category. Tower of Inverted Colors is a forgettable one. All I really remember is the spinner floor and that one bad jump. I think you know what I mean. The gameplay is mid at best, and it's honestly kind of boring. When I think of other Seal towers, I remember most of them vividly. That is just not the case for this tower. The music isn't the most fitting, but it works, I guess. Citadel of Heights and Depths. Where do I even start? This Citadel is amazing in every single way. The gameplay is perfect, it's insanely creative, it's one of the most enjoyable towers ever made, the design is insanely well done, and the music is almost perfect. This creation rightly deserves its score. I do not have to talk any longer. Tower of Lananophobia? I wonder what that could mean. Fear of strings? Oh, please no! The Tower of Lananophobia is certainly the tower of all time. It is centered around tightropes, progressively getting thinner and thinner as the player progresses. The gameplay is very basic, and most of it is boring, except for a couple sections that I like, such as that structure on the yellow floor. The design is simple yet appealing. The music is okay, I guess, but there's really nothing too special. Also, why does that random dropper exist? I really don't get it. The Tower of Extraordinary Adventures by Theodoric and Seal is, in my opinion, not very extraordinary. They focus so much on the design that they didn't really care about the gameplay and enjoyment. The design turned out pretty neat, but pretty much every other category is mid. And don't even get me started on the random buttons that you're supposed to collect without the tower even mentioning until the final floor, where it suddenly tests if you collected them all. At least the music kinda fits, except for floors 5 and 6, the desert floor. However, the Tower of Glitching and Healing is indeed extraordinary. This tower is very fun to play through, and the gameplay is also pretty cool. The entire tower is centered around glitching and healing, and they are used in unique ways. The design is also very appealing, and I personally love the frame colors. The music I find also fits the tower very well. The Tower of Strategic Mechanics is an example of a tower that has a lot of good ideas, but has very poor execution. This tower is very creative, with a new mechanic introduced on almost every floor. Like ToGaH, it is also inspired by ToL, with a smaller frame inside the tower, which acts as a B-side. This tower is also not very fun, with a remorseless difficulty A-side, and a really hard B-side filled to the brim with GBJs. On the flip side, the music is pretty good, and the design is average. Tower of Impossible Movement, another collab by Fiel and Seal, and a sequel to Tower of True Skill. This tower is not fun in the slightest, and an absolute pain to grind. This was honestly my worst grind, and I haven't even beaten it yet. My personal best is only 4-8. The gameplay is honestly really wacky and inconsistent. Slopes are almost everywhere, and slope physics are really bad. It is kinda creative with the purism, I guess, and the music does not fit at all. Seriously, why is there a song that sounds like a farm in the sequel to TOTS? Of course 6 does not fit either. I'm a fan of A Hat in Time, but still, the songs don't fit at all. I'm not even gonna talk about the design. I'm just gonna hope you understand what's wrong with it. Seal's hardest cannon tower in the game, and the first catastrophic tower, Tower of Elongated Runs. This tower is littered with wraps and kill bricks and is entirely skill-based. The gameplay is kind of fun to do, but there are lots of insta-kills. Also, I usually never find floor lengths as a big problem, but floor 2 is just way too long compared to the rest of the tower. It does have a few creative wraps, but there is nothing too special. The design is pretty cool, and the music is quite nice. And lastly, the final tower we will be reviewing is Tower of Wanting Extra Levels by Seal and Juke. This tower is very unique, fun, and long. No section feels more boring than the rest, except maybe for floor 1. While there aren't any bad parts, there are a couple annoying sections. The music is pretty cool, and the design is not that bad. In summary, Seal was a very talented and amazing builder. While he does have a couple bad towers, his good towers are really good. Here are some statistics. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree or disagree with me? After all, these are all my opinions, and they will probably be different from yours. See you next time, and thanks for watching.